My name is Artur. I come from Brazil. I live in Belgium for about 10 years now. I have a beautiful daughter of 3 years old that was born on my birthday, 9th of June. You can put in the agenda. I lost my birthday, but I got the best gift I could ever have, so I'm pretty cool with that. And I also love traveling the world, learning new languages, learning new musical instruments. And my first job was actually cleaning printer machines. You know, the big multifunctional ones, I remove all the screws, clean the toner, assemble back in record time. Then I got promoted to help desk. People saying a lot of bad things about my mother, and I was trying to help them. Sir, have you tried to plug the printer in the electricity? Oh, it's not, okay, no. Sorry, sir. Okay, no problem, I'm here to help you. And we continue. And then I really started on Java developer, that's my background. Right after that, I became project manager. And then I discovered 10 years ago this Agile, whatever you want to pronounce. I'm like, I want to check deeper this thing. And that's what I'm doing for the last 10 years. And in the last 10 years, I feel blessed that I really managed to see many different types of industries and products. And of course, where would I start as a Scrum Master and Agile Coach? There is only one department that we can work, right? It's IT. It's the only way, right? For 5 years, I worked everywhere but not IT. Payroll, procurement, HR, on the portfolio level. And every time I changed the department or I changed the team, there was always something that was really like, you know, this big challenge that you cannot overcome. And you look at your toolbox and you're like, oh, I'm screwed. Can I say screwed? Is it allowed? Okay. I'm in trouble. I need to do something. And for that, I had to either tweak practices and tools that I already knew, or to completely invent new ones to really help me. And I would like to share them with you today. Would you like to see it? Yeah! Oh, I like the energy. Ta-da! Yes, I took my driller box and turned that into something that we can use on the stage. And this is my toolbox for today for you. Can you read from there? Of course, Artur. No problem, I got you. Just give me half an hour so I can put this standing. Oh, it took just 3 seconds. So, if you cannot see, I have some aid for you. Welcome, welcome. These are 10 tools, practices, and techniques that I either tweaked or invented to help me to overcome big challenges in my career. But today I want to keep the juice for you. So I'm kind of leaving 4 of them outside. Because you can also come afterwards for, like, I don't know, a coffee, or let's say, what about that one? That name was interesting. So we can talk about that later. I want you to focus on these 6 today because you are going to decide the agenda of today. To increase the return on investment, I invite you one more QR code. Yes, I know. So if you scan this QR code, you're going to be able to vote which tools and practices you want to see first. And I start from that. So, I'll give you some seconds in case you haven't. If the QR code is not working, you can go to menti.com and type the code that is there up for you. And how this is going to go? Yeah, now it's just a welcome page. No problem. We good? We good? If you're facing challenge to connect, just poke your neighbor and say, can you help me? I'm going to do a quick pitch of each of them. And you have to trust your memory, or you simply write down which tools you want to see first, because you're going to have 3 votes afterwards. And then we're going to start by the ones with most votes. Is it clear how it's going to go? Are you ready? Full attention? I'm going to try 20 seconds on each, okay? It's not the whole session, just talking about them. The meeting killer. How can you improve the meeting culture of your team by visualizing the value and frequency of each meeting, very visual, very clear, and trigger meaningful discussions with your team, and even kill some meetings and start improving the meeting culture? The number 2, the weekly challenge. How can you keep introducing challenges to the team once every week to make sure that they keep moving forward, introducing new concepts, new techniques, and making sure that they are, in a fun and visual way, they keep trying different things and experimenting. The value and effort. How can I should change the name for this one. Should be refinement on steroids. How can you refine a lot of user stories or tickets at the same time in a very visual way, creating very meaningful discussions with your team? How am I doing? How do you visualize your work as a Scrum Master, as an Agile Coach, as a team leader? And how do you know that your work is being perceived in a good, in a bad way, with value or not, and where to improve? The 5 dysfunctions of a team, how to use that structure, and I'm going to explain a little bit. It's not going to be the whole session for that, but how to increase the trust and the psychological safety in your team, starting from that one. And the client alliance, how to create an alliance, an agreement with your client, with your boss, with your sponsor, or even the team members, that will help you to be more successful in your mission and avoid a lot of unnecessary friction in the future. Are you ready to vote? Yay! Okay, so let's do that. Now you should be able to see the votes, or at least in your phone, in 3, and in 2, and in 1, and in 0.5, and in internet stopped. And I pray to the gods right now. And I hope that it's gonna work again. In 3, in 2, in 1. And can you see now? Yes. All right, so you're gonna be able to vote. I'm not gonna show now because you're gonna be influenced, but remember, you can see, you can vote 3 in 3 different tools. I'm gonna give you 5 more seconds and show the results and start from that one. I'm gonna take a picture and I'm gonna start by the one with most votes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay? We good? Ta-da! You see that I don't have anything? Can you see there? All right, so what I do, because I have a bad memory, I just take a picture, and I start by the one with the most votes. So we have the winner, the meeting killer. The name is always very attractive. 5 dysfunctions of a team, and then value plus effort. I can guarantee you 3 tools, maybe 4, insanely miraculous 5. And the other ones that we don't have time, again, we have still some time for coffee or to connect later, and I'm going to share with pleasure. How are you doing, Sven? You good? Yeah? Okay. It's my attempt to make sure that I move to the side. And I still gonna... All right, let's do that. So I did an automation of these slides. Very advanced technique, putting buttons on each. Can you see there? Yes. Putting buttons on each post-it so I can click directly on them. For instance, this one, yep, if it works, it goes directly to the meeting killer, ta-da, to that section that you cannot see, of course. Why I just gave this session 100 times. Of course, there is some interesting situation going on here. It's gonna go, it's gonna go, it's gonna go. In 3, 2, 1. Meeting killer. Have you ever heard your team saying, we have too many meetings? Yes, amen. Okay. Have you ever thought about that yourself? We have too many meetings. Who has like triple booking, like 3 meetings at the same time, and you have to choose, like this one is more important. I was tired of hearing that from my teams, and I said, I have to do something. How come people are continuously complaining about this? It's a kind of a pandemic. Looks like the meetings are coupling during the night and then replicate overnight, and then they're just... And I said, like, I don't own the meetings. We have some meetings together, some meetings I created, but how can we improve that? So I love to visualize problems. I think it's a meta tool that I'm sharing today. Every time you want to fix a problem, just visualize it. Not with words, not with just written, visualize it. So what I've done, I created a super advanced NASA kind of chart, which is value by frequency. How does it look like a little bit more visual? Looks like this. So you can make sure that you value your sessions from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest value, and how frequent it is. Is it every day? Is it 3 times a week? Is it once a week? Is it twice a month? Is it once a month? So what I've done to make their life easier, I created already before the post-its with the meetings that I knew that they have already. For instance, everything that is blue, you see the legend, is Scrum related, because they were running Scrum. What is team related? What is out of the team? And what is ad hoc? They were all below in the frequency, and everybody on the team has a board like that. So individually, they score their own meetings. And that's a result of Mary, a fictional character to help us here today. Actually, she exists. It's a result, a real result. So she did her own, and everybody else did at the same time. By the way, I think, I don't know if I mentioned, I gave them a few seconds to create the meetings that I forgot to put there, so they make sure that it was complete. Afterwards, we could see all the sessions together, and Miro has a nice functionality that you can do just Control F and type retro. And all the post-its with the retro word will be highlighted, so you can compare and trigger discussion. So Mary put retro quite high. This one put quite low. This one, why is that? And I started facilitating the discussions. Why was the daily so high for you? Why was the one-on-one with the boss so low for you? Why is the review so high for this one and made for this person not? And we started having discussions about it. Some of the questions that I asked to triggers, for instance, what are the ones with the highest value and the lowest? Why? Which ones are overlapping? Maybe they are pretty much the same kind of goal, purpose, but they are overlapping, and why we're just not merging them? Which ones can have lower frequency? Which ones do you want to increase the value, and how can we do that? And finally, which ones can be killed? That's the moment that everybody waits for. It's like, let's annihilate those sessions. And to facilitate those conversations, what I've done, I asked them to choose which meetings they want to discuss further. They chose those 3. And I facilitated by making the green post-its on the positive things that they were talking about it, the pink ones about, like, they don't like much about that session. And I asked them, what are the experiments you can try tomorrow or next week to improve that meeting? And they come up with the purple ones. So you see that some people like, it's like the daily is very important for me, I know the blockers, are we on track or not? But some people are like, yeah, for me, I have to do that every day, or for me, I don't have much to say. And we started having experiments. But first, they didn't even visualize very well the work, so that was one improvement to improve the session. And someone said, can we turn on the cameras? Internally, I was, yes, please. And outside, I'm like, what do you think about it? I don't want to steal the ownership of the idea, right? And say, great idea, what do you think? And then I'm stealing the idea. And they started turning on the cameras and just simply higher value in the meeting. You can see people. In the refinement, there was another tier coming from the other eye that somebody said from the analyst, can a developer join that? Because I feel that we are refining a lot just analysts and business analysts in the PO. Can a developer start joining so we can have this feedback loop earlier and feedback? Yes, please. And we experiment. And you can do that every month. You can do that 5 minutes at the beginning of each retro. You can do that every quarter. It's whatever works for you. And that's the meeting killer. I take one question about that, and then we move to the next 2, because I want to share the rest with you. Yes? I think it's already visualizing the problem, because I color code on purpose for that. A kind of a meta-learning was, Scrum is basically 4 sessions. But then we have 153 other sessions around, from the team, from outside. You see that the red one is the ad hoc. And that's already one in sight. Like, how many ad hoc meetings are we having? Why not discussing that during the daily? Or why not having that on that other session? So I don't deal with that. I just make it visual. I make the pain increase. I'm a bit sadistic when I'm helping the team because I show the mirror that's happening, and then the pain, a little bit more. I'm like, if you want to tackle that, you tackle. And I'm here to help. But I don't push for, I don't force help. You have too many meetings, let's. So I let them decide what they're going to do with all the ad hoc ones, but I make sure it's visual. Does it answer your question? Yeah. I want to move to the next one. And we are going to have maybe some time at the end for some questions, but I want to show you more. Are you ready to see more? Yeah. Wow. And the next one was? 5 is fine. I just want to see if you're remembering. Who knows 5 dysfunctions of a team from Patrick Lencioni? Okay. I'm going to try to explain that very briefly. I was working with a group of people that I felt that trust was not really there to speak up. Psychological safety, and to be able to speak up and say, what is psychological safety? It's the capability of speaking up without the fear of being judged. So you can say, I'm sorry, I don't know what it means. Can you help me? You are better than me on this one. If you don't hear these sentences very often in your team, you are either in a perfect team, or psychological safety is not really there. People are feeling afraid of being judged. So to increase that, what did we do? I turned the picture of a real team into a kind of Agile manifesto one, just for fun. So that's actually an activity that we had. And the first thing I asked them was to create a timeline. Hey everybody, what happened last year? What are all the events that we had as a team last year? Here, all the months in the timeline. Here, what are the events that helped you positively, that had a positive impact on you? And what are the ones that, not really good? So I gave them some time to write down. They place it on the wall. And the next thing I did is explaining the dysfunctions of a team, the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Which the first one, I'm going to do that a bit fast forward, is the lack of trust, what I just said. The lack of psychological safety, you are like, you are not speaking up because you are afraid of feeling judged. So if you are afraid of feeling judged, for sure you're going to avoid conflict. You are afraid of feeling judged for saying, I don't know. Imagine a conflict. You just avoid conflict all the time. And then you create this fake harmony. Yeah, no, it's all good. And then everything under the carpet. No, it's all good. No, of course I like Mary. You don't. No, wait, there is something going on there. We need to talk about it. But because you are avoiding conflict, for sure, the commitment will be lower. You avoid conflict. You don't try to participate. You don't try to commit, because if you commit, it's when you have to speak up more. And then because you have less commit, just passive about decisions. Just go with the tide. And then because you are not committing, for sure, you are not keeping each other mutually accountable. You are avoiding to speak up. You are avoiding to have conflicts. You are not committing. So if you are not even committing, how can you say, hey, Ingrid, that thing that I asked you didn't deliver yesterday, and that I really need you for that. You got the feedback between the lines? No, I just saw a friendly face and I took you. And because there is no accountability, the results won't be there. You know the good enough team? Just everybody with the heads low, under the radar, afraid of feeling judged. So we just go on the day. And for sure, you just try to improve your team, but you don't see the bigger picture. And so I gave this explanation to them. Maybe a bit better, a bit more time there. But after, I just asked them to vote. From 1 to 5, how comfortable do you feel to speak up in this team? 5, you feel very comfortable. 1, not at all. So I asked them to make a semicircle around the board, right? Semicircle. Can you visualize a semicircle? Semicircle. With the markers in their hands. And I said, choose your number first, and everybody goes there at the same time and put it, because that's how you reduce biases. Because if the first one goes there and put 5, you're like, oh, mine was 2, but I'm going to put 3 now. So everybody did it at the same time, and you have some people confidently going to the 5, like slowly and calmly. Some others went to the 4, it was like, yeah, okay. Some others went to the 3, like, and one person on the 2, like, ninja move, like, whoa, don't want to be seen. And that was already showing something. The fact that even to vote on that, we were already like, all right, The next thing I've done was asking them, based on this timeline that you saw, all the events that happened last year, what are the events that made you vote lower? What are the events that impacted you that you say, like, I don't feel comfortable to speak up? And let's be clear, maybe one event happened that you didn't even feel comfortable to put on the board. So let's talk about it. And I said, of course, as every team, it starts by, yeah, when that person left was bad, right? Yeah. Oh, the time we went off-site. Surface, surface like this. Oh, the beers we had was super cool. Yeah, no, but it was a pity when the budget cut when. Yeah, but we really struggled when we had to talk about it. I have to say something. June last year, when you said something to me, I have to give you feedback. When you said something to me, it really brought me to a stage that I felt uncomfortable to speak up. And then, can you see? Going deeper. And I stepped back. I get goosebumps just to think about that, because it was a very beautiful moment. People were speaking. We had 30 minutes for that. We extended to 1 hour or something. I completely cut the next activity. I skipped. I'm like, this is way more important. So people really went to a deeper level. They gave direct feedback, and I asked them to vote again afterwards, if you would change or not your vote after the session. And some people said, yeah, I would vote one higher. I'll vote for, I'll vote. And the agreement with the team was to have this maybe every quarter, or to have more of that moment to hold this space and be able to speak up. It wasn't easy facilitating, because sometimes it was like, what do I do? My God, should I intervene now? No, I should step back. Hey. And what I did, and I'm just opening a parenthesis here, and I stop about this one. Very often when I was stuck as a facilitator, I just told them, sorry guys, I'm a bit stuck here. I'm a bit stuck. What do you feel here? I feel that half of the room wants to do this, the other. Am I right on the way I'm reading the room? So yeah, okay, so let's continue. So it was very hard, but having hard conversations is crucial. If you don't have these hard conversations, you have just the basics already cut, so you don't have the top of the pyramid. Just thinking about it, I'm like, whew. One question about that one, before we go to the next one. Yes, sir, you're pretty fast. To avoid finger point, for those who didn't hear, should you avoid finger pointing in the meeting or let it go? Or I think it depends on the maturity of the team, how long they are together. I was with a bunch of Scrum Masters, so kind of for us to eat our own dog food, our own cookie, I think we should be able to give this direct feedback, but it's still hard. Still humans with emotions and feelings, so I think it's always a feeling, and depends on how often the people did that kind of activity. For instance, I had one, I joined the team as an Agile Coach, and the Scrum Master was facilitating a retro. So I entered the room, it's the first thing I've done, right? I was participating on that, I'm like, okay, and I saw a circle of chairs. Everybody sat on the circle, he closed the door, he puts a chair in the middle, say, Jane, now you sit in the middle, everybody's gonna tell about Jane, what you like about her and what you don't like about her. I'm like, oh, time out. Stop it. They just started working in different ways. This is not a feedback session, this is an execution. For introverts, for extroverts, whatever, don't do that. The step is too big for the team. So I think that depends on that. And even the definition of finger pointing can be different, right? Say, hey, and I think they were very candid in the way they did it. They were very kind. They say, I need to talk to you. And there was emotions coming out, like I need to talk to you because this, the way you said, impacted the way I continued working afterwards and this and this and that. And because that person opened the door first, someone else also did. I also need to talk about this. And so it was very beautiful to see that. It's hard, but we have to have these hard conversations. Shall we move to the next one? Woo! Let's do that. Let's go to the number 3. And the number 3 is? Which one? How am I doing? Exactly. Just, how am I doing now? Somebody saying yes, probably because it's the one that you want to see. Doesn't mean that it's the one that is the next one, but I took a picture. I have metric, is value plus effort. Okay, somebody tried to trick me. Value plus effort. Let's go for this one. I often see teams with a huge backlog, and the refinement is only on the next 1 or 2 items. And it's a big pain to find time to refine, to bring people together, to understand what is coming next. So I designed, again, something extremely advanced, NASA kind of stuff, generative AI. It's value and effort. You can call it story points, you can put whatever you want here. That is what they were using. They were using effort. They were using story points. So what did you do? We had the selection of the top of the backlog, the highest priority, and they were all there. Everything was there first. So what we do was a kind of explanation from the PO, from the analysts, from the developers. We had this kind of a first intake and insight about each item, a few questions asked, but just enough to move on. It was not over-engineered. And then we did something called the silent sorting. One person at a time, imagine that was digital, but imagine that it was in person. One person, everybody in silence. I tell them that is, you have to work your monk from the Himalayas deeply right now. And the first person goes there, picks up one from the upcoming priority, and places where he or she believes it belongs to. And nobody reacts. There's no like, no. Just listen, just see. The next person, the next person, the next person, until everything is sorted out. And then the next round, you can place something that was already placed, because you disagree with that. So now is your moment to use your turn to say, I don't believe that is a number 5, I believe that is a number 1, but you don't say that, you just move. So me as a facilitator, I'm tagging each card, saying where it was before. So I don't know how big it is there, but maybe, wait a second, I might have something for you. Ah, look at that technology. So here you can see how many times I tagged some of the tickets, and we started by those with the most votes, well, with the most moves, because that's what we disagree the most. And I facilitated the conversations. You see that all the cards were also clickable. You click, it goes directly to the backlog, and you can read more, so it was very nice. And I don't care about the number at the end. I think it's important to have a number at the end, if it's value or if it's effort, but I care more about why people think it was that. Requirements are falling from the roof. Discussions are being triggered all the time because of that, and making sure that people are taking notes and capturing that discussion. And in, I think, 1 hour and a half, we managed to sort everything and have deeper discussions in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items with the green ticket. And here there was some guidelines for value. I hid it because it was sensitive, but it was like the financial impact per year. How many users impacted? What is the frequency of this event? And so on. And that was kind of a classification for the value from 1 to 5. And that is the refinement on steroids. You know already what I'm going to do, so okay, we have one question. Yes?
I think one of the critical things is the value guidelines, because that might take, because the guidelines might take already quite some time to come to them. So did you give it to them? Did you have a discussion before?
Yes, so I think you understood the question, like how do we come up with the guidelines, because this is really important. It was a work with PO before. A lot of conversations, so there is a pre-work on that, a good pre-work. I think 50% of the success of a workshop is the preparation, right? And we talk to the director, we get actual data to say that 10 users will be impacted if that doesn't happen. So there was some pre-work there. Very important. And if you don't have time, or you think that this is possible, at least you try to come up with something like that. We should be more data-driven decision instead of I guess decision. Yes, exception, one more, and then we move to the next one if time.
Hello, I'm wondering, those tickets, the title is just enough for everyone to understand? Because in meetings, I have tickets written by the business, refined by the analyst, reviewed by the tech lead and then the developer. and nobody speaks the same language.
I love it, yeah.
How do you get that working if we are not talking?
So that was one. Remember the meeting killer? It's the same thing. Somebody said the developer should come to the refinement. Because I wanted that, but it was not happening. And I think it's a process. Before was really PO and BAs. And they even call themselves business and IT inside the same thing. We need somebody from IT. First time I heard that, I'm doing that for many years. I'm like, you are calling the others IT and business inside the same thing. What the heck? So it's a process. It's a process, and I'm very picky with this. I think the words really have power, and the way you write the title, the way you... I hate abbreviations. You might have some here, but I really avoid abbreviations and acronyms because we assume that people know. But I'm sure that there is at least one big abbreviation in big companies that nobody knows what the heck is that. It's just been repeated throughout the years. But yeah, it's a process. Refining the language and start using even the type of screenshots for mock-ups that they were taking. The developers start saying, I don't need that. You are taking 10 screenshots, I just need that one. So simplifying as well the communication. All right. 12:24. I think we go until 12:40. Is it? Is it time or not to go one more? Yeah. I want to deliver value. I want to make sure that I get one more, but on the other hand, we have to wrap up. What was the next one? All right, let's do that. Okay, if you want to see how am I doing, you start clapping. All right, so yeah, I think it was enough. Let's do that. So, how am I doing? I'm puzzled because this is 2 in 1. It's a bonus inside, but let's do that. One is about the backlog, and the other is about the feedback. We are Scrum Masters, we are Agile Coaches, or team leads. We ask people to show their work, make it transparent, make sure that it is accessible by others, and what about us? So I strongly believe in eating my own cookie, and that's why my backlog is constantly visible. So that's a picture from some time ago, when I used to do that physically. You can see here that is really the backlog of everything that I was doing. And if it's a workshop, if it's introducing behavior-driven development for our team, if it's a one-on-one, if it's starting a user story mapping, this was visible. And there you have basic columns like to do, work in progress, and done. And I'm going to stop with this magnifying one. Here the sprint, because I was doing kind of a one-week sprint, the date, and everything that I was doing, or everything that I already delivered as a Scrum Master. And every Friday, my sponsor would join me in front of this board, and we have a kind of a mini review and planning and retro-ish at the same time in 1 hour. I will show what happened, we have discussions, and I discuss with the team, and that's what we need, and that's what you're going to do next week, and etc. So it was constantly visible, constantly being inspected and adapted. Another thing that I've done, and of course you have parking, you have, but the conversation, it was open for everybody. It was not a closed room. Something I've done last year was a different type of backlog, kind of more of a roadmap of improvement. Because very often people don't know what we're going to introduce as a Scrum Masters and Agile Coach. It's just like a magic box, like, ta-da, now let's do 3 Amigos meeting. What did it come from? So I try to visualize per sprint, and the colors is where I'm going to introduce that technique or that new practice. During a retro, during refinement, during planning, or a separated session, and we are constantly talking to the team. That was visual, that visible for them, and say, hey, that's what they're going to do next. Oh, we didn't have time for this one. Let's move to the next one. This one doesn't bring value anymore. Let's move it to the back of the backlog. And that's another way to do that. And actually now, another way to do, we have a board that I, of course, blurred, because there are pictures and names and things, and, state secrets and everything. But basically, we visualize our work as Scrum Masters. It's very painful. One of the hardest jobs I've ever had is being a Scrum Master of Scrum Masters. I didn't have all this forehead. It's losing. I'm losing hair, like now it's falling. But there is a journey. there was a very good journey because, for instance, this board, we used to have 15 items in progress at the same time. And then we were like, what about limiting to 7? One of the hardest things you can do is to limit the work in progress. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? We limit to 7, and then it's still hard, and now we limited to 3. And I think we managed to respect kind of a lot that, but it's still about visualizing the backlog. And that's one, what do you visualize as a Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And the other one is about feedback. Simply an NPS. You ask about the product from 0 to 10. How likely are you to recommend our product for a friend or colleague? Why not asking about ourselves? From 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend Artur as a Scrum Master to a friend or colleague? So I did that many years ago. It was visual, the NPS is in the middle. I literally turned my back. I'm like, guys, just put it there. I don't want to see who. So you feel comfortable to put whatever number. And then you're like, Artur, you are so cute. You did once, are showing in a presentation just to prove your point. No, I did a bit more than just once. I'm constantly doing throughout the years. And also some of them remote. So now just a board. And it's actually readable. When I share the slides, you're going to be able to see that and see all my flaws and all my mistakes and how my friends and colleagues hate me. And the other one is simply a Google Forms. Just a Google Forms with the NPS, what is working well and what could be better. And that's it. So how am I doing? How am I doing as a Scrum Master and Agile Coach? How is the work visual? How is the other being perceiving my work? And a bonus, there is a bonus inside the bonus. Oh my God. So for you to do a voting in Miro, you can activate the private mode. The private mode means nobody can see whatever the other is writing or voting, and you can activate it to the end that you are the only one to be able to see that, and nobody can see the other, so it's pretty needy. But that was just an extra parenthesis bonus for you. Now, one question, somebody else that didn't ask yet. Somebody else wants to ask a question. You want one, but I just want to see if someone else wants to ask a question about that. Go ahead. No, I show everything. And people that give me the feedback, they can see there. And I think if I would have 7, I would show. 4, I don't show. I had 4, 5, and -2. Those I hide, because I want you to think that I'm good. No, they're all there. Even the ones with many photos, they are Post-its. I couldn't even do something with them. So. And this one, the forms, it's open for everybody, and we are working on the same company, so you can access that and actually see that it's there, so I cannot even lie. It's very hard to fool people when you are in the same country, you know? Like, no, I don't. I hate doing that. For me, it has to be real. Now, it's the moment she's recording me and I'm lost. Hi, how you doing? She's so good with the zoom in, zoom out. All right, so talking about feedback and how was it perceived for you? I invite you to come back to Mentimeter. No, you don't need to come back. Let's skip individuals and interactions over process and tools. I want to hear from you, what was your favorite one? And I just want to hear. What's the one that you say like, ooh, that was a favorite one? And what are you up to do next? Because I don't know if you notice, I want to deliver as much value as possible for you. I don't want to be fluffy, I don't want to be like too generic. I want to make sure that it's like everything you can use tomorrow or Monday, but that you can actually try them, because they worked for me and hopefully they might work for you. So which one was your favorite? Meeting Killer. Who is up for Meeting Killer? Hey, look at that, all-time favorite. What about How Am I Doing? How am I doing? Okay, it's a bunch of stuff there. Value versus effort. The steroids, refinement on steroids. And what was the other one? The 5 dysfunctions of a team. Why did I see people raising hands in a few times? Like, they are all my favorite, Artur. But now, what for me is very important, because I eat feedback for breakfast. So I invite you to scan the last QR code of this session and take 1 minute of your time, maybe 1 minute, 23 seconds, and give me feedback on how this session was for you. This is extremely important for me to know how it was perceived, what I did well, and what can be done better. Remembering that you can always come for the other ones that you didn't have time. And I think while you feed it, I'm just going to give you 1 minute. And right after this 1 minute, I'm going to open for more questions. This is to increase the feedback, or to decrease. Some people are like, I hate ukulele. Lower. It's okay, so you don't need to clap. It's just it was elevator music, you know, elevator, you are like, oh, just for some might be distracting, so I'm sorry for that. It's just because I love music. And I think I overdone a bit with the harmonica today. I had the idea yesterday night to be a great idea to have an harmonica on my... Just crazy guy. Crazy, just crazy, experimenting. Now that we had probably some time for some feedback, we can open for some questions, but for that, I truly appreciate your time here and your participation. So first, thank you, and we open up for questions. And nobody's a hostage here, and if you have to go, you go. If you have to go to the toilet, you go. It's just if you want to ask some questions. Yes, sir. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, my God, it's fast. Ooh, boy. That was fast.
I wanted to know, are ice-breaking games a good way to address dysfunctions in a team?
I think it's an extra two of the extra two that I didn't even put there. And I actually had a talk once that is called The Power of Check-ins, Energizers, and Icebreakers, that I did all the kind of do's and don'ts that I don't recommend. And can I have a coffee with you and tell you? Because I think I need to know more. You said like an icebreaker. Maybe it's not an icebreaker that you need. Maybe something else. How many people in the team? Is it because there was 2 people fighting, or there was a tension, or somebody threw a banana and a tomato on someone else's face?
No, it's just to make sure that everyone talks as they want freely. And sometimes after, I don't know, sprint planning or review, we have time to spare.
We need a coffee. We need a coffee. We genuinely, I promise you, grab me today and say, man, I want to give you more context, and then I answer to you.
All right.
Because I think this is a bit offside of the ones that I mentioned. So I think I'm going to keep the focus on the ones that I mentioned, and for this one, I might have some things for you.
All right.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yusuf.
Yusuf. Okay? I'm not going to forget. It's just if you have something about what we discussed, so I keep about the subject that we discussed. He's earning his lunch, man.
Yes, thank you. I would just like to know if your resources, including like the ones you didn't have the occasion to show today, are like available to consult online or something.
Thanks for that. That's something I forgot to mention. There was a little disclaimer, let's say, there, that I have some links directly for Miro templates that I used. So I need to just bundle them a little bit more because they're a bit scattered, but I'm going to do that. If you put your mail there, I can send to you via email.
Sure.
And the slides will be for sure shared. If it's not directly via this, it's via the conference.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect.
Thanks for the question. I think this is it. 2 minutes, but any other question? Yes.
I like the way, the confidence you have to ask for feedback to your teammates. Did it encourage others to do the same? I mean, other team members, devs or analysts, to do the same as you do? I mean, asking for feedback in the way you do.
Yeah. The first time I've done that, I think it was 6-7 years ago, it created a ripple effect that I didn't expect. As soon as I did the session, because I used to do small sessions of 15 minutes with just 5 people mixed, leader, developer, everybody mixed, and I would just listen to them and they would put everything there. I would say thank you at the end. I wouldn't justify any feedback. And at the end of one of the sessions, the big boss came to me and said, Artur, like, I was, yes, sir, like a huge guy, like, with the suit and everything, Artur, if I want a session like that, would you facilitate for me? I'm like, of course, man. Like, he's here. Sorry, I thought that he was there. Of course, man. I'm going to do that. So I facilitated that for him. And then, his colleagues started asking as well, but not everybody. And I would never push it. Of course, encourage, but never push it. I'm here if you need. I can facilitate, but never. Oh, yes, from there. The mic is already there. You are mean.
Hi.
Yeah.
I have a question. You said that you started in non-IT teams, and then at one point, I guess you went into IT. And if yes, what was the main difference and the main challenges that you faced?
It was the opposite. I started as a Scrum Master of my own team, and then 5 years as a Scrum Master in IT, and then I went to this realm of payroll. I went to payroll 3 teams, A, B, and Bev. They were paying the salary of 3,000 people. I couldn't come to them and say, hey, everybody, do you have 1 hour to hear the word of Agile? They would throw a chair on me, like, can you stop paying people salary and let's improve? Yay, let's do a Scrum session. I had to reinvent myself, and it was right after the pandemic, so I had to start introducing nuggets of things that would work for them based on their pain points. So they have a huge problem with alignment. I'm like, hey, what if we just, it's a crazy idea. Every day, 15 minutes, we say hi, and we share a little bit of what we have. All right, let's try that. We don't know what's the work, we are doing here work, we are missing, the ball is falling between us, volleyball is like, it's you, it's me. What if we just visualize our job? I mean, we put some work there and then... So I really linked my roadmap based on their pain points, because I couldn't do like a half day with them. They had to pay salaries.
And if you would have done the opposite, so started with non-IT teams and going to IT, what would be your biggest advice?
That has to be over a beer. I think I need a beer for that group. Let me think. I have to think, because I think it's your case, right? I'm going to give one little advice that worked for me, at least, and then we wrap up. I think what helped me in IT is the fact that I talk their language. So I wasn't too theoretical on just the ceremonies, on just I knew what continuous delivery and continuous integration means. I knew the name of some tools. You can use Cucumber for that. You can use Maven for that. There is Jenkins for that. What about... I'm speaking English, you speak English. So I think it helps. Mon français est cassé, c'est terrible. Et si je commence maintenant, tout le monde va partir maintenant. Et ça, Artur. So I think you don't need to be a developer, but it's nice to know what it means when it's broken, a build, or I think that helped me. And then I see you now like, oh shit, I'm gonna... But it helped me because I already knew when I was a developer, so. Does it answer a bit? Yeah? With a challenge? Yeah, I think it's what I can say. Maybe I'm gonna give you more afterwards. I appreciate your time once again. Thank you so much for joining. Could I take a selfie? It's something I used to do a long time ago, but I forgot. Can I take a selfie? And if you don't want to be in the selfie, you can do this. You can do this. Or you tell me at the end, say, Artur, I want to be out. And I can still pick up your question, but I'm just going to officially close, so nobody feels like a hostage. And 3, and it's been so long, I used to do that for 6 years as a speaker, and I forgot. I don't know where to go. All right, now you pretend it was good, no? It's the moment that you say, yeah, yeah, woo. I'm out of the selfie, I'm so dumb. Wait, my goodness, I need a beer, goddamn. Okay, now I'm gonna do that. Bye everybody, thank you so much for joining. Yay, it's a video selfie, I've never done it before. I'm ridiculous, I became a YouTuber all of a sudden. Thank you so much, enjoy the rest of the conference, bye. And I can still answer your question.